Welcome back to the beehive. See what's here? A new light system. I moved my Stella lamp, which I love, over to my Sweet 16 table, and I'm trying out the slimline light that's supposed to outlive me, and I probably could leave it in my will because it's an LED light that has like 100,000 hours of lighting, and it's a touch system, so you just touch it and on it goes, and it really gives a daylight feel. I mean, it totally lights up my whole sewing table. But for now, it looks like it's in the way, so I just am going to put it down. So there, welcome. I've gotten many requests. I'm back up in the beehive, and I've gotten many requests to share the story of Enzo, his last month. And I think I'm ready to do that, to alleviate some anxiety in people who have older pets, and also to make people pay attention to what might be going on. So Enzo was 11 years old. He started getting a little bit of gastrointestinal issues about a month into the trip. Now, granted, he is totally immunized. He eats the same food. We bring his food with him. So there was really no change. People have asked about scorpions or those types of things. No, it was too cold for any of those critters to be out. We never saw one critter. So about a month into our trip, he had a couple of days of gastrointestinal issues, and so we took him to a local vet where we were camping, which is in Wickenburg. It's, I'm probably not going to pronounce it correctly. I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but veterinary clinic in Wickenburg. And they gave us a couple of medications for him. They did some lab work, and that was all normal, except for a little bit of dehydration, and gave us some low-fat food. He only eats dry food, and we get it at a special pet place. You know, it's like a child. So then we went on our merry way, and he got over it. We went on and had a great time. And then suddenly he started getting sick again. And so I decided to take him into the vet. And that vet clinic that was recommended to me was not, they were swamped. And so they recommended a different vet. So I went to this different vet, and they did x-rays and also lab work. Now, when he came out of that vet, by the time we got home, we realized that something had happened at that vet. Because he was gimping. He was gimping, and it's like his neck hurt. So I don't know if they lifted him incorrectly or whatever to do the x-rays, but he was a painful dog when he came out. So we took care of him and took him to the original vet. So this is quite a story. An original vet, and that we wanted to see. And they checked him out and did a set of x-rays, and everything looked normal, but they said he hadn't been eating in a couple days, and so they said they wanted to keep him overnight. Well, he's not apart from us, and so this is the thing I can share with you, is that when you have to make a decision, medically a decision about being separated from a loved one, you have the right to ask specific questions. And so I said to them I was not happy at how he came out of the last vet, and so I said, if you want to keep him overnight for an IV and observation and see if you can get him to eat, then I need to see exactly where he's going to be. and what it's going to be like for him. And so a couple phone calls, they took me into the back. And this is a huge vet hospital with like 15 vets. And I looked around, and they told me most likely he would be sleeping because they would sedate him somewhat for comfort. And so I agreed because he needed the IV. Well, when I left there the next day, and they kept him over 24 hours, they sent me home with a CD of his x-rays, his lab work, and more food, more special food, of which he did not eat for them. And I told him he would not eat for them, that we're kind of OCD, and he's an OCD dog, and he has very specific parameters of how he eats. So he did not eat for them. So we went back home, and we had to pack up and go to the next destination. And by then we were having to lift him in and out of the truck and in and out of the camper, and he was not eating, and he had not eaten for 5 days. And we were back in the area of the very first vet that we visited in Wickenburg. And so I called them up, and they said we could bring him right in. It was a Friday. We took him in. She looked at all of the x-rays and all of the labs and said that, in fact, everything looked so normal that the only thing left was the concept that there would be cancer. And she said the only way we're going to know that is if we send you back to Phoenix and they open him up, do an operation and a biopsy, and see what's going on. And we both knew that we were not going to do that. It would be traumatic for him. And at his age, we knew we wouldn't treat the cancer. You know, I've been in the medical field long enough to know that sometimes you have to think about that the treatment's worse than the disease, and what can we do? And so she said it would not be unreasonable to let him go, but I was stunned. So luckily G still had presence of mind and said, we can't make that decision now. We have to go home and think about it. And so she said, well, that's perfectly fine. Go home, think about it, call me on Monday. And she says, and I am the vet on call during the weekend. And so Saturday he didn't eat, so it had been 7 days since he'd not eaten. And Sunday morning it had been 24 hours since he drank any water. And he just looked like he was ready. And so I called her up and said, is there any way that you could take care of us on a Sunday? It was St. Patty's Day. And she said yes. And Dr. Laura, she was so amazing. And so we drove to Wickenburg to the vet clinic, and I will put a link to that veterinary clinic in the description, so that if you're ever traveling through the area, I can tell you those people have souls. And G lifted him out of the truck. He walked into the clinic. We were the only ones there. He saw her, and he wagged his tail. I just was like, what the heck? Maybe he's not really sick. And so she tried to get him to eat a treat, and he wouldn't eat it. And so she said, I think he's telling us. And she had made a little bed for him, and he walked over to that bed, and he laid down and never lifted his head again. I laid on the floor with him while she went and got the sedative, and he never lifted his head, and I just petted him and talked to him. She gave him the sedative, and then went and mixed up the medication to help him pass over. And it was the most graceful and peaceful passing I had ever witnessed. And I thought, if I could just be like my dog when my time comes. This is a wonderful example of that dog in the art of racing in the rain. And the big thing for me, though, was he needs to be home. I was working hard to try to get him home. But luckily for us, she said they had a service where they cremated the remains and send them to you. And so he's back here with us, and we will be hiking at some point up Black Butte and scattering his ashes with the rest of the family that's going to be up there. So that is the story of Enzo. It's a beautiful life and a beautiful passing. Maybe not on our time frame, for sure, but I couldn't ask for a better companion. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful to all of you who have reached out to me, and some who have recently been suffering, some who have been missing their fur babies for years and still have that where it just takes your breath away. So thank you for all the support. So now we're going to move on to something lighter. I have mail day, but I also have shopping day. I haven't done anything as far as showing you what I have gotten along the way. And I was good. I was really good. But I also received in the mail lots of cards and condolences, which I really appreciate. Thank you so much. So to start off with, let's see. Oh, I have to show you this shirt I ordered. You know, I love to wear quilting shirts during the Quilters Affair here in Sisters that are quilting related. And I bought this because I thought these people have done a copyright no, but I better get it before it gets ripped off the internet. So here it is. Can you see that? Just quilt it. I thought that was so cute. So I'll be wearing that one day during the Quilters Affair. And then, let's see, I received several blocks of my block of the month of the Sylvia Pippin's block of the month, which is the birds of the Pacific Northwest. So I have lots of prepping to do. I got the center block for Buttermilk Basin's Autumn Harvest, which is the one that I'm working on back here. Oh my gosh. I thought this card was really cute. Look at that. Looks like an old McCall's pattern. Yeah. And this was just a thank you from a gal who got one of the giveaways during December. I have this, I got this from Modern Domestic up in Portland. And this was that ABC yardage. You know, it's just really cool. Might have to do a grandson quilt out of that. I gotta finish some of my grandson quilts. I have thread and cross stitch. Look at that cross stitch pattern. Beehive and a crow all in one. And I bought the thread for that, and then look at this little pin cushion with the mice. Oh, lavender honey. Perfect, perfect beehive penny rug. Oh, and I received the finishing kit. Look at that fabulous fabric designed by Stacy for the autumn harvest. And I got hooked into the Cottonwood House, 1894 Cottonwood House block of the month called Sleepy Hollow. Oh my gosh. So they've already sent 3 blocks. So I'm behind. Or I'm ahead because I haven't started it yet. So I'm ahead on receiving the blocks, but behind on actually making them. And then I got my thing in the mail. It's actually the only magazine that I subscribe to. So I'm really happy that I didn't overdo it. Oh, and I forgot to show you this. So I wanted to make these, they're mesh bag kits, and I got the kits at Quilter's Market in Tucson. And so the color of the mesh is like this, and the fabric that I'm going to put on is those pin cushions. And then I liked this orange one, but I couldn't find a fabric in there that quite went with this, and I knew I had some Halloween fabric that would be awesome. So with this orange mesh bag, I'm going to use those pumpkins. And so I guess that's it. So today is my day to stay in the beehive. I've got my last bit of popcorn from Tucson, Arizona. I love this popcorn. You get it at Whole Foods. And I'm going to work on prepping because I have a lot of deadlines for the outdoor Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show, and I need to get working on those because I still have a very busy schedule ahead, and I have to take every moment I can in the beehive. And I feel all your love and support here. So thank you so much, and have a great day, and hug your fur babies. They are so precious. Love you guys.